Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have yet another Lorna Slater story, but strangely not connected with the no confidence vote. But this is something else that could see her ousted as a minister, whether or not she wins the vote or not. It's very, very strange, isn't it? It's almost as though she's doing everything she possibly can to not be a minister anymore. Why doesn't she just resign? Anyway, what it is her and Angus Robertson have refused to admit mistakes were made. They refused to report themselves for misleading Parliament, which is what they're supposed to do, even though it has been proven that what they actually said to Parliament was incorrect. They didn't correct it and they refused to acknowledge it. And now, of course, it's up to Humza Yousaf to administer any kind of discipline. Fat chance, man has no spine. But it is just yet another example, A, of how awful Lorna Slater is, and B, how weak Humza Yousaf is. So we'll go straight in and have a look at it. But it's amazing, isn't it, how they think that they can lie and get away with it when it's the simplest thing in the world to check. Here goes. So Angus Robertson and Lorna Slater refused to admit misleading Holyrood, with Humza Yousaf getting the final say. So they'll both be absolutely fine then. And I'm sorry, before we go any further with this, I've just seen a bit of breaking news. I've just seen my very next story, and it's about Margaret Ferrier. So prepare for that one, because I've just seen what it is. I've just seen what it says, and already I know where I'm going with that. Anyway, two prominent members of Humza Yousaf's cabinet were accused of misleading the Scottish Parliament, but refused to put themselves forward for potential sanctions. Well, of course not. Oh, and look, they're having a Euro day, so she has to wear blue so that everyone knows that she's pro-Euro. You know, it's like these, oh, I have to wear a red tie because I'm in Labour. So if I look down, I remember what party I'm in. Really? I mean, come on. Do you remember during the height of the COVID, they used to wear little face masks, and it was all Euro face masks because they have to push Euro and all that bollocks. It is utter shite, isn't it? Anyway, Angus Robertson and Lorna Slater have refused to concede that they misled the Scottish Parliament and breached the ministerial code, even though Humza Yousaf has the final say. Yes, they're not doing it. They don't want to admit it because they know if they do, they're in trouble. But Humza Yousaf has got the final say, and he won't do anything because he's got no balls. The pair were urged to resign in February after being accused of deliberately not telling the truth at Holyrood. And that's normally what happens when you lie in whatever camera you're in, House of Commons or House of Lords, or in this case, Scottish Parliament. The normal thing is you either apologise or and say I made a genuine mistake. That I used the wrong figures, or I was given information which I thought was right, but it turned out I was given the wrong information, or whatever, and you immediately apologise, and then you immediately provide the correct information. Things happen. People accept mistakes get made. They do things. It may be that you looked at the news and that was something now, and in between, events have changed. People accept that. People aren't that harsh. But when you're telling outright mistruths, lies, wrong zero honesty here, and then not admitting it and not correcting it, that's when people get very, very upset. Anyway, the row involves the Scottish Government wrongly using a renewable statistic for years, despite it potentially never having been true. The SNP has long peddled the claim that Scotland has 25% of Europe's offshore wind potential, with the quote fact even being used during Alex Salmond's time as the First Minister. It's subsequently been shown that it is in fact a load of dingoes' kidneys. There is never in a million years a chance that Scotland's got 25% of wind potential for the whole of the continent of Europe. What an utter pile of crap. But an investigation by a pro-union think tank, These Islands, found that this was an entirely false statement, and in fact could have actually never have been true. And the Nats have claimed that it was true at the time but was now outdated. But it was never true. Both Mr Robertson and Miss Slater were accused of not telling the truth to MSPs about when they found out the statistic was actually wrong. Documents show that the Constitution Secretary was informed about this on September the 28th, but continued to tell European delegates about it on October the 4th. So, over a week later, and he's still doing it. This led to complaints from the Scottish Tories, with the energy spokesman Liam Kerr pointing out that under ministerial code, holders of public office should be truthful. Well, he was truthful last night, of course, because it was Liam Kerr that raised the no confidence vote on Dumbo here. Anyway, get back in here. It says the documents proving that this was not abided by. And when questioned about it at Holyrood, Mr. Robertson refused to even answer, instead rehearsing lines that had nothing to do with the accusation. Miss Slater was also accused of breaking the code as well, specifically the section which says ministers must not purposely mislead Parliament. And she told MSPs that ministers found out about fake statistic on November the 8th, which was quite clearly a lie. But now the Scottish Daily Express can reveal both the prominent members of Mr. Youssef's cabinet did not feel that they needed to report themselves for potential breaches of the ministerial code. And according to the rules, no one else can do this for them. So, they're dishonest as well. If everything, above everything else, they're absolutely dishonest. They're liars. We now know it. Provable liars. And I can say that, and there is nothing they can do. They can't sue me because you can't be sued for the truth. This isn't libelous. They're liars. Documentation about these incidents said, as set out in section 1.6 of the Scottish Ministerial Code, ministers are personally responsible for deciding how to act and conduct themselves in light of the Ministerial Code and for justifying their actions to Parliament and the public. The First Minister is, however, the ultimate judge of the standards of behaviour expected of a minister and of the appropriate consequences of a breach of those standards. Now, at the bottom there, on the left, you can see Jenny Gilruth. Jenny Gilruth is someone who absolutely, as Transport Minister, arranged for track repairs to not occur over the Christmas period because they were in her constituency and she didn't want to disturb her people. This came then at a cost of in excess of £1 million because I had to rearrange all the work. Plus, when the work is being done, it isn't just going to, upset a few people who might want to travel over the Christmas period, but now will actually, unavoidably detain thousands upon thousands of people for all this time because it's during work time. That is a misuse of power by any standard. But Humza Yousaf comes to her rescue and says, no, it isn't, because he lacks the spine to actually discipline anyone in his own party because he's not a leader. So do you think he's going to discipline these two clowns? Of course not. Because his balls are in a jar sitting beside Nicola Sturgeon's bed. She gives him a little rattle every morning. Anyway, so around there, I shall come up. So more proof, not that any is needed, that Lorna Slater is not fit for office. She's a liar. She's always wrong. She's inept, she's stupid, she's ignorant, she doesn't listen to anyone, and she gets everything she's ever done wrong. And so when they do have this vote, I do hope that a lot of them do sort of vote her out. I'm going to miss her. I'll be honest, I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss the videos that I do of her. But I think for the good of Scotland, she absolutely, positively has to go. As for Miles Angus, well, I think he needs to go as well because he's a corrupt sod, isn't he? He does everything he can to make sure that he's well feathered in his nest. But also another one who lied. Undoubtedly lied. So the pair of them. And like I say, I can say that with impunity. There's nothing they can do because they're proven liars now. They definitely knew. The proof is there. Anyway, I shall finish. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, and please share the video. And remember, and the next one up is the Margaret Ferrier is coming back up again because this is a cracker. So do hit the subscribe button. Don't miss it. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and let us find out the truth together. Goodbye.